George Wallace was the governor of Alabama and was the first person ever to fill 4 terms as governor. He graduated from University of School of Law in Alabama in 1937 and flew many bombing missions over Japan in 1945. He was eventually discharged with a medical disability. George Wallace is mostly remembered for his segregation politics in the 60s and became a judge and local politician. He lost a couple times when he ran for governor, but after he was backed by the Ku Klux Klan, he won the election. He was able to keep his position for 4 terms, and in his first inaugural speech, he said the words, "Segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever." He eventually ran as a Democrat for president 3 times, but never won. He was almost assassinated by Arthur Bremer, but was not killed. However, he was left paralyzed from the waist down. George Wallace's government over Alabama restricted African Americans from becoming equal to whites in society.
Lyndon Johnson, who was president starting in 1964, believed problems involving house, income, employment, and health were a federal responsibility. Rooted in this belief, Johnson had a vision where a society would experience no poverty or discrimination and everyone was equal, the Great Society. His first initiative was to end the war on poverty. Under his power, the government raised the minimum wage and created programs to help prepare poorer Americans for the workforce. To also end the war on poverty, Johnson knew he had to give African Americans the opportunity to rise from segregation and not only survive, but thrive. He passed the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which banned voting restrictions because of one's race or social status. He also passed the Fair Housing Act of 1968, which barred discrimination in the sale or rental of housing. Johnson's push to better society had a positive effect. The poverty rate declined from 20% to 12% between 1964 and 1974. Among those most affected were African Americans because they were who mainly composed the poor demographic of the United States. The proportion of blacks below the poverty line fell from 55% in 1960 to 27% in 1968. The black unemployment rate fell 34%. In contrast to George Wallace, the Great Society and its laws aided African Americans in gaining equality in society.